May be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker for the spring 2018 commencement of Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University. An excerpt from our alma mater states, "Many thy brave and loyal sons sent from thy shrine on Normal's hills, filled with a zeal for a task well done, anxious thy mandates to fulfill." Our speaker's life and accomplishments are exemplary of a loyal son of Alabama A&M who has devoted his life to fulfilling the mandates for a task well done. Our speaker is a former educator, an author, a leader, a corporate and foundation relations officer, a family man, and an able public servant. From his early years, our speaker has exhibited exceptional leadership skills which came to fruition here at Alabama A&M University while he was a student. In June 2006, he was elected as chairman of the National Education Association NEA student program, where he represented more than 62,000 college students on more than 1,100 campuses nationwide. In this role, he worked out of the NEA headquarters in Washington, D.C. His leadership and collaboration with a myriad of organizations fostered the passage of the College Cost and Reduction Act of 2007, which was signed into law by President George Bush. It was during this time that I met an aspiring, budding politician who was later distinguished himself in the political arena. Today, our speaker, the Honorable Anthony Daniels, represents the 53rd District in the Alabama State House of Representatives. Not only is he providing able leadership for his district, but he has made history by becoming the first African American and the youngest person to serve as minority House leader in the history of Alabama. In this role, he champions support of economic development, human resources, is a leading voice on the issues of college access and affordability, and of course, a love for education, which he developed here at Alabama A&M University, majoring in elementary education and later special education. For his many contributions to advancing humankind, he has been recognized and honored by numerous community, professional, and educational organizations. A more detailed bio of this upcoming trailblazer that we will certainly be hearing a lot more about in the future may be found in the program. However, he would want me to be certain to note that he is married to his lovely wife, Dr. Tanisha Daniels, and he's the father of 3 children, Abigail, Madison, and the latest addition, Anthony Jr. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming home our loyal son and another testament that with a degree from Alabama A&M University, you can start here and go anywhere, the Honorable Representative Anthony Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. To the Alabama A&M Board of Trustee members, President Andrew Hughini Jr., First Lady Abigail Hughini, Provost Dr. Daniel Wims, and all administration, faculty, and staff, and alumni of this great university. But before I begin my remarks, you always note individuals that stand up for universities like Alabama A&M. So at this particular time, I would like to acknowledge my colleague, Representative Laura Hall, who represent this area in Alabama A&M University. But more importantly, I want to recognize her for leading the effort to get Alabama A&M $1.5 million on last evening. As I indicated, my family, unfortunately, my wife gives her regards. She was not able to be here. We have a 4-week-old, I'm sorry. When you're not getting sleep, you don't know what day it is or how long it is. But today, I have my mother-in-law and my 2-year-old, Miss Abigail Daniels. And to the spring 2018 graduating class of Alabama A&M University. Our university founder will be proud of the work that our wonderful president and administration has done by taking this university to new heights, increasing enrollment, breaking and shadowing fundraising goals, and just taking this university to the next level. So let's give our president, Dr. Andrew Hughini, a round of applause. I would like to begin with a little story from a man that came from Washington, D.C. to visit Huntsville, Alabama. He came to Huntsville to give a sermon. So he ended up coming to Huntsville and staying at the embassy suite, and where he was giving remarks was about 4 blocks away. And so he decided to walk. And when he was walking, he ended up getting lost. So he ran across 3 young men on the sidewalk. And he said to them, "Can you help me find City Hall?" And one young man said, "Yes, you're only 2 blocks away." And he gave him directions. And the other young man with him on the sidewalk, he said, "Why are you going to City Hall?" He said that, "I'm going to City Hall to give a sermon on how to get to heaven." And he said, "Would you guys like to come? You can be my special guest." And the young man that kept his head down the entire time suddenly raised his head, looked the man in the eye, and said, "Are you kidding me? You can't even get to City Hall. How are you going to tell somebody how to get to heaven?" So I'm going to do my best today. Each one of us have that moment when we realize our own power, our own potential to influence and to act, to bring into being our vision of what our world can and should be, living in our own purpose. This is what being an Alabama A&M graduate is all about, helping you find and live in your purpose. So let's give our graduates a round of applause. Jim Collins, in his book, Good to Great, says that good is the enemy of great. He goes on to explain that many people and organizations fail to realize their fullest potential because of their deep satisfaction with just being good. Well, not here at Alabama A&M University. Our students are great, especially the class of 2018. Graduates, this is your day. But you should know that this is also a very special day for your family and friends who are here with you. There are 2 young ladies, 2 little girls, sisters, playing on the ice. And the older sister, who was about 4 or 5 years older, fell into the ice. And the younger sister had to act fast, and so what she did, she looked in the distance and she saw this tree. She ran and climbed the tree and broke down a branch and returned and extended the branch and saved her sister. So the paramedics and everyone came, and they were amazed, how is it that this frail young lady was able to save her sister? And so there was a wise man that saw it all from the distance, and he said, "I saw everything." And so they turned to him and said, "Tell me what happened. How did she do it?" He said that she did it because there was no one there to tell her that she could not. So family graduates, our family members, I want the family members of our graduates and the faculty and staff of this university, graduates, I want us to give them a round of applause for telling you that you can. You probably have no idea what they've gone through to help you reach this day. The worry, the work, the heartache, but most of all, the love. There's a young boy who lived in a place called Winterfield, South Africa, not Wakanda. Just to give you an idea of Winterfield, South Africa, it's one of the poorest townships in South Africa. The youth live in homes made of mud with dozens of people living in 1- and 2-bedroom homes, the size of the smallest classroom at our university. They have no electricity, no running water, no transportation. So they had to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning just to get to school at 8. Someone asked a young man who was a teenager at the time how he endured despite the challenges, the tough moments, and the hopelessness around him. This young man had the wisdom to say that my destiny is of my own design. Today, this young man is a lawyer and has started a nonprofit to deliver health care services, clean water, and improve sanitation in developing countries who would otherwise not have it. And so, graduating class of 2018, my message to you today is that your destiny is of your own design. When I was a young man, I knew that my destiny was of my own design. You know, today, it was 13 years ago that I sat where you are. You know, today is particularly an honor for me, a young man 1 generation removed from being born on a plantation in the land of former Governor Wallace, in the place of Jim Crow, in the home of the field trials, Midway, Alabama. My presence here today would have been unlikely. I am the descendant of a grandfather who was born into a family of sharecroppers, picking cotton, tilling fields, and herding goats on a large plantation. His entire life, he lived from hand to mouth. My grandfather attended school in a 1-room schoolhouse and only attained a 4th grade education. I am the descendant of a grandmother who was raised on this same plantation, who had to walk several miles down a dirt road in order to get to school. She, too, only attained a 6th grade education. My mother, the second oldest of 9 children, was born on this same plantation, but my grandparents had a different vision for her life. They had a vision of progression and prosperity, a vision unseen during their lifetime. You know, it wasn't until 1978, 4 years before I was born, that my grandparents were able to move off that plantation into a nearby community. This marked the beginning of their vision coming to fruition for their children. They envisioned my mother getting married, gaining decent employment, and making a better life for herself, one that she and the entire family could be proud of. My story: I was born in Florida but brought to Alabama when I was 2 months old to live with my grandparents. I grew up similar to your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, shelling peas, getting eggs from the chickens, and even going to the rolling store, something that you guys can't relate to. But the worst day of my life was the day that my grandmother passed when I was in 5th grade, and my grandmother died in the bed next to me of colon cancer. From 5th grade to 12th grade, I lived in 6 different households with different family members who loved me. Like many of you, many of the young people here today, I thought that I was going to be a professional athlete. I thought that was going to be my ticket out of my community to the rest of the world. But God had a different plan. I caught a ride to Alabama A&M University, where my life will be changed forever. Alabama A&M University, for me, was a home away from home. You know, they took care of me. I remember times in West Cafeteria where Pops would give me extra food to go to my dorm room at night because he knew my situation. Or Alfred Baker, who gave me my first job in student activities so that I can go to summer school. Or Karen Foster, who encouraged me to get involved in the Student Alabama Education Association. Or the late Waylon Sims and Dennis Howe, who would accept me into that noble clan of Kappa Alpha Psi. Or John Vickers, who would give me my first scholarship. Or Tammy Alexander or Rita Lott, who would push me to do my best. Or Marjorie Battle, who would get me in line when I got out of line. Or Hilda Calhoun, who would do everything in her power to keep me straight. Or the faculty and staff in the education department who would truly treat me like their own. I know that I wouldn't have received this experience anywhere else in America. Despite the long lines in financial aid and while walking from Morris Hall to West Cafeteria and all the different skunks that you would encounter. I still love this university. As I reflect on the opportunities that was bestowed upon me, I'm compelled to give back. It's my duty and honor to give back to this institution that have given so much to me. All of us have the responsibility to give back and reach back and turn back and lift up and support the next generation. Each of us have an origin story. You've heard mine. Think about your origin story for a moment. It explains how you came to where you are at this moment. Your origin story helps you identify the defining experience that pushed you to reach this moment. You made a decision to become not just a part of this amazing class of graduates, but pioneers of the future and instruments of change. You must stand in that power, boldly, unapologetically, relentlessly. From this day forward, you have a responsibility to speak up and speak out. Stand up for justice, for truth, and for opportunity. No one is giving you permission to just sit back and remote control in and offer color commentary about who's up and who's down. If you really want to make your mark on the world, you must get in the game. Strap up and tighten your laces. It was this university and the faith that my grandma instilled in me that helped me overcome all the different obstacles that I've faced in my life. My parents and grandparents both are only shared an improbable love, but an enduring faith in the possibilities of this country, but also a vision about the importance of education. They envisioned me going to college, getting married, and living a prosperous life. And although they're passed away now, I know that they're smiling down on me and pushing me to reach for the stars. And so as I stand here today, humble and keenly aware that I am the sum of my grandparents and parents' enduring vision for me to succeed, I stand here knowing that our stories are not unique, but simply threads woven into the untold story that makes up the great fiber of this university. A university where dreams come true and visions still lead the way. I like what one scholar said when they said that we must be more than just humans being. We must be humans doing, humans changing, humans transforming. This is what Alabama A&M graduates do. This is who we are. This is what makes the lives of children and grandchildren of sharecroppers more than just a footnote in history, but a footprint on the world. Many of you recently seen this movie, Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle starring The Rock and Kevin Hart. Or maybe you haven't because you're studying so hard. There was a great scene in the movie where four young people, for various reasons, ended up in detention to learn a valuable lesson from their principal. He said, here's what you should be thinking about: who you are. You've got one life, you decided how you're going to spend it. My challenge to you today is think about who you are and how you're going to spend the rest of your life. This is just the beginning. You have to continue to learn, continue to educate yourself. You know, every time I see an Alabama A&M student, I remember the dreams that I used to have. And I remember looking at them and understanding that I'm seeing a reflection of one person dreaming and the other one living the dream. But understand that dreams without goals are just dreams. And I know that every time an Alabama A&M student look at me, he or she has the confidence to know that they too can dream and that anything is possible. Because starting here and going anywhere is what our motto is. Your decisions may be unsung, but the good that you do is beyond measure. Your decision would undoubtedly transform despair into hope. And like those who went before us, we will strive to make this nation a more perfect union and this world a better place. What matters is what difference we're making right here, right now, while we have a chance. A&M graduates, we won't solve every problem, but we will leave this world a better place than how we found it. For that, I believe, is our destiny. I had the opportunity recently to visit California. And along the coast of California, you have these cedar trees. They appear to be very strong, but their roots are shallow. When one tree falls, others follow. But the fascinating things about these trees is what holds them up. They lean on each other. Their branches touch and support one another. Not one of them can stand alone. As you travel this journey, remember that you're not alone. You have your fellow graduates, you have your family and friends, and you have the support of one of the greatest institutions that this world has ever known, Alabama A&M University. And you get to a point to where you feel down and that you can't go anymore. Remember what Fannie Lou Hamer said when she said, the things that I'm saying may have no impact on you, but I'm going to keep saying and saying until it drives you crazy too. And remember what Mary Ann Williamson said when she said that our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And you feel that it's getting even tougher. And I close. When things go wrong, and they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill. When the debts are high, the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, 2018 graduates, rest if you must, but doggone it, don't you quit. Thank you, and God bless you.
Representative Daniels, would you please return to the podium? We'd like to present you with the first Distinguished Service Award from Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University. Provost Williams will read the inscription.
This Distinguished Service Award is presented to the Honorable Anthony Daniels in recognition of exemplary governmental service indicative of the university's motto, "Service is Sovereignty." For historic service and achievement as the youngest and first African American to serve as House Minority Leader in the Alabama House of Representatives, for serving as a role model to current and future students of Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University, demonstrating what they can accomplish through hard work and determination, for being a living ambassador and proving that with a degree from Alabama A&M University, one can start here and go anywhere, for inspiring our students to strive for greatness through your timely, challenging, and encouraging message as the speaker for the Spring 2018 commencement of Alabama A&M University. Alabama A&M University proudly hails you as a recipient of the Distinguished Service Award, giving this 4th day of May 2018, signed Andrew Eugenie Jr., President, and Chris Robinson, Secretary of the Alabama A&M University Board of Trustees.